This is a video on how to do a bind off on circular needles. This is a cowl that I am knitting out of my hand spun yarn. First thing you want to do is get back to the beginning of the round. You see I have it marked here with like a little safety pin. I didn't use a stitch marker as these are really big needles and none of my markers would have fit. But you could, if you wanted to, use a scrap piece of yarn or anything like that to mark the beginning and end. So when you're binding off, it's basically just a standard knit, but with a slight twist. So to start off, you're going to knit the first stitch. You're going to knit the second stitch. Then take the first one, stick your left hand needle in, and pull it over the second. And you've bound off one stitch. See it's hanging there? Then you knit the next one. Pull the previous one over, just like we did before. You've got two bound off now, and you can see that there's a gap right here between the end and the start. You just keep going like that until you reach the end. There are many different bind off techniques out there. Your pattern will usually tell you if you need to use something other than the standard. Sometimes it'll say do as in pattern. I don't always follow that because, well, sometimes it's difficult. For example, this cowl is a slip stitch cowl, so you'd have to knit one and slip one. So it's a little bit more tricky. So I just opted for a standard bind off on this one. And you don't want to do it too tight. You want to do it rather loose so there's some give in the fabric. You don't want it really stiff. I just have a little knot here in my yarn to tell me when I was going to stop knitting, because the pattern calls for stopping when you have about 2 yards left of your yarn. I mean, as you can see, I have a large ball still. However, the color was changing again and I was close to the desired width of the cowl. So I marked 2 yards from where the color changed so I would know when to stop. When I got close to that knot, and it was at the end of a round, that's when I started to bind off. As you can see now, we have a big gap here of bound off stitches, and you're gonna start seeing your cord come out, and that's a good thing. You definitely want to see that big gap there. Getting there. And you'll get to the point where you can just do it without even thinking about it. Oops, see, I almost forgot to pull that one over. There we go. Can't completely turn off your brain, apparently. Or at least I can't. These are just inexpensive clover needles. I don't generally work with yarns this thick. For my normal yarns, I use Diacraft needles. You can buy them at diacraft.com. There is a waiting period because they are handmade needles, but the waiting period is well worth it. Please visit diacraft.com, and always, if you have any questions, give them an email and they will promptly, as they can, answer any questions you have. They are a fantastic company. Okay, finally nearing the end here. Had 101 stitches to bind off. As you can see, we're almost there. Okay. Last 2 stitches. Knit that last one. Pull over. And hopefully I can break the yarn here. Nope, I can't. Make it work. There we go. Take your tail, pull it through your loop, pull tight, and then you weave in your ends, and we're all done. Thank you for watching. Have a great time knitting.